Hey there, how are you doing today? We are live on Facebook. I'm juggling a bunch of things because you might be joining me on Zoom too. Does marketing your products feel overwhelming or confusing? Today, you're going to learn a big reason why your e-commerce marketing might not be working and getting you the sales that you expect. Here are 5 things that you're going to walk away from today if you watch this live until the very end. Number 1 is the biggest problem I see in the e-commerce marketing industry. 2 is what you need to watch out for when it comes to hiring consultants. 3 is the number 1 critical part of your website that too many marketing agencies never even bring up to you. 4, when it makes sense to go for a quick sales fix course or solution for your business. And 5, 4 questions to ask before you buy a course or hire marketing help. I'm Marie Spikerman. You are inside the Commerce Collab Facebook group for Talk Shop Tuesday, where every week we talk about what's working in the world of e-commerce and the key shifts to sustainably scale your business. Before I get to today's topic, I want to invite you to join me in my Zoom room for this live if you happen to be watching this on Facebook. We already have a few people in the Zoom room with me. It's great to see you. Heather, Sabrina, Megan, Kershaw. I love seeing you here in the Zoom room. And here's why you might want to do this if you happen to be watching on Facebook. I'm going to stay around after the live ends and spend a few minutes to answer any of your questions so that we can interact and connect. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in the Facebook comments again to Zoom. And if you're in the Zoom room and I'm not letting you in, just hold on a hot minute because I'm juggling Zoom comments and Facebook comments, like 5 different things here. I need a clone of me to do this. So hold on, heading over to Facebook. Thanks for bearing with me. Great. I'm going to put that in. And Facebook, as I've told you guys in other weeks, has been really weird and not updating the comments. But it looks like we're okay to go. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm about to go on a little rant. Now, there are people who go on rants and they call out people by name, and that's just not my style, okay? But I want to call out and rant about a broader problem that I see, the biggest problem that I see in the modern day e-commerce marketing industry, with the people who are selling you solutions to your sales problems, your traffic problems, your social media problems, whatever that might be. And people who are with me on the Zoom, feel free to leave your comments and feedback with me in the chats on the Zoom. That's great, just like you would on Facebook. So here's the issue I see, the biggest issue. It's how narrowly they focus, these marketers will focus their solutions. And a lot of what they teach is based on short-term trends. So they will latch on to something. I'm going to give you an example with one of my friends in this industry. His name is George, and he's not a bad example. He's a good guy. He's really good at what he does. And he is an email expert. I'm actually bringing him into my group program to teach because I believe in what he teaches. And he works in Klaviyo, which is an email software. And he had talked to me that one of the things he's been seeing in the last year, especially, I think because people are laid off from their jobs, so they're trying to find new work, but a lot of people who are new to marketing were coming out with all these Klaviyo courses that were I don't know, learn Klaviyo in a month and blow up your sales 10,000%, crap like that, right? And so Klaviyo was a trend, and it's a bandwagon that he saw people jumping on. It's a quick fix, this kind of course. If you aren't familiar with Klaviyo, it is an email software that's specifically for product-based businesses. It's a great software. People saw that it was trending. People saw that there was this demand to learn Klaviyo. And so they would promise that, all right, if you take my course or you hire me as a consultant, I'll help you get Klaviyo up and running. You'll have sales in no time. But it wasn't addressing things like the kind of e-commerce emails that resonate with customers and build long-term loyalty. And so it's missing that underlying piece. What I would love is if you tell me in the comments, have you ever scrolled, say, on Instagram, and they're always serving us up ads, and have you seen ads there or on Facebook for stuff that fits this narrow focus, like courses that are like that? And you don't have to tell me who is selling it. Again, I'm not trying to rip on anyone specifically here, but I'd love to hear, what are some of the topics you've seen? Maybe they are things like get X followers in 6 weeks, or 1 month to profits on Pinterest, that kind of thing. I'm just really curious what you're seeing out there. Let me go check the comments both on Zoom and Facebook as well. I'm going to reload Facebook. If you are watching me on Facebook, will you do me a favor and drop a comment there in case you're over there? Because I'd love to make sure that this is going okay over on Facebook. Let me tell you something that I have heard from my clients and from the women inside my group program that I think you'll find really interesting. It's related to this issue I see where people are marketing to you on trendy fixes or short-term things. And my clients will have hired a consultant, say, to help them with something. And they will, in the engagement with this person, ask things like, okay, what about ads? Or what about website conversion? Something kind of not quite what they hired the consultant for, but within that sphere of marketing. And the consultant will say to them, yeah, that's not my focus. Or they'll tell them to just Google it. And I'm curious if you're watching me, if you've ever had something kind of similar happen to you, where you're almost brushed off, or the person didn't seem interested in at least saying to you, I don't know a ton about that, but let's look into it together for you. To an extent, I get this. I get why it happens. People have specialties. But I want to get a little salty here and lay down the law and say, if someone is selling their marketing services, they have no way to guide people on the big picture and how everything connects together, at least a little bit, they are shortchanging you, period. And they are not interested in your long-term success. I don't know everything at all. Like, I know very little about the logistics and R&D and manufacturing side of things. But let's say that was my jam. Let's say I was a logistics consultant. I would hope to have at least a surface level understanding about manufacturing so that if you come in, you talk to me, I can steer you in the right direction. I'm gonna go check out the comments. Ooh, I've got chatty people here on Zoom. So Megan sees a lot of ads for gaining email subs. I know, doesn't it seem, Megan, like I've seen those too, and they are appealing to me. It's kind of like, well, I would love more email subscribers. Who wouldn't, right? And it's really hard to not be drawn to this. Okay, like, I get it. Sabrina says, we're going to talk about reels in a sec. Yeah, you see, like, learning reels is one you see a lot. Wait till you hear me rant about this one. Heather sees a lot about how to do better in IG stories and make more engaging posts. Yeah, of course. And of course, if we're on Instagram, they're going to be marketing you Instagram fixes and solutions. Kirsch's got grow your product sales using Instagram stories. Okay. Using quizzes was a fad too. Yes. And quizzes was something I looked into for my business, Kirsha, and I haven't closed the door on it, but I want to tell you in a minute when I think it makes sense to use these things, because I think some of you are seeing these in your feed and you're thinking, first of all, I would like that. Like, that would be awesome if that worked for my business. And the second question you might be asking is, when does it make sense for me to get these kinds of courses? And I want to give you some guidance around that so that you have an idea on when that makes sense. I'm someone who's in marketing and branding. That's my main focus. And if you are a client of mine, or if you're in my group program and you come to me and you say, hey, what do I do about Pinterest? Which has happened. It's not my primary area of marketing expertise. I don't know a whole lot about Pinterest, but I know enough to at least give you some pointers, to do some research for you, and to say, let's think about how this looks in the bigger picture of all these other moving parts you have. Let's make a plan together. The reason that this whole rant and this topic came about, and why I wanted to talk with you about it is because one of my copywriter friends is working with a client right now. This client of hers previously paid a marketing agency a few months ago to do work on her website and her Facebook ads and God knows what else. All right. So we're talking a big marketing package, right? Like my best guess is at least 5 figures that this person had paid. But no one from this agency looked at her website copy. So that's the words on the website, and said, there's a problem here. It's really important that your copy is optimized too. So she paid all this money and she's finding that there's like a disconnect, like it's not performing and giving her the outcomes she expected or was promised, because no one told her about the copy. And now she's scrambling and working with my friend who's a copywriter. But this is what really breaks my heart, you guys. No one from the marketing agency told her this was an issue at all, okay? And as this client, the business owner, and all of you watching, you don't know that this might be an issue later. Like, why would you? That's why you're hiring an expert to help you, right? To, in theory, help at least give you some heads up, some warnings, even if they aren't the person who can help you with this, at least know enough to say, hey, Megan, I think that there might be some SEO things going on your website. I'm not an expert in this, but I want to steer you and give you some articles and resources to help you work on this, because I think that's part of what needs to be worked on here. You as a business owner, you don't know what you don't know. And that goes for all of us, right? But let me know in the comments if this resonates with you, this idea of you probably don't know what you don't even know, right? Let me go check the comments, see what's going on over on Facebook. I got no one there. I'm hoping this is working on Facebook, guys, but I'm glad you're chatting with me over on Zoom. Hold on. Okay. So this whole problem with my industry selling you the fast fix, that shiny object, that, as Megan talked about, grow your email subscriptions, right? For example, or Kersha had one about quizzes, or Sabrina talked about the reels. The idea behind this marketing is if you just use this tool or you just do this one thing, you're going to blow up your sales. And it sounds so appealing, doesn't it? And one of the things it plays on in the back of our minds is that doubt. Like, they know that we don't know. We just talked about like how you don't know what you don't know. So you see this and you think, well, maybe this is the answer. It's really hard to know and discern, right? Like, when is it the answer? So you might be wondering, when would it be appropriate to snag one of these courses? I mean, guys, some of it depends on your budget and what you have going. For example, I really have no qualms about paying $100 for something very narrow that is teaching me a really tiny specific skill, because I figure if I get one thing out of that, okay, no big deal. But if you pay for this and you don't have your foundation, your marketing foundation, which we'll talk about in a second, if you don't have that kind of like up to speed, they aren't going to work. But if you have worked on that underlying marketing foundation, then it makes sense to do what I just described I do sometimes. I will go maybe look into a course for $50 that teaches me something about how to make a better reel, because I've spent a lot of time working on my marketing foundation. But if you haven't, you go invest in that course, and then you're amplifying a faulty underlying foundation, okay? So that foundation isn't built in a day. And it's also not sexy to talk about. No one like goes on Instagram and sends, like, gives you an ad that says, wow, spend the next, 3 to 5 months working on your marketing foundation because it's going to be really good and wholesome for you. No one advertises that. And also, besides it not being sexy to talk about, it can also seem very overwhelming unless you have someone making it manageable for you. Like, it feels very insurmountable. Like, how do I put this all together myself? It doesn't have to be that way, but I get why it might seem that way to you. So why would doing these short-term courses hurt your marketing efforts, right? Like, why might your e-com marketing not be working if you're doing these things and not seeing move the needle? So basically, when your underlying foundation is not addressed first, you do this quick fix stuff and it amplifies that underlying incomplete or shaky foundation. So it's kind of like throwing good money after bad. And like, say you go learn to make that quiz or you learn to make that reel, but you haven't yet figured out, for example, how to speak in a language that connects with your customers or what your point of differentiation is with your product. And you don't have that like really solid, you're going to go create a reel that feels fuzzy, right? Like, so you're amplifying that in an Instagram reel or with a quiz, and it feels like so generic that it's not going to call out your like customer who's going to love your products. It's kind of like, it's not going to meet them where they are. So that's where I mean, where when you do these things and you're throwing money at them and you're throwing your time at making a reel and you don't have that underlying foundation in order, it's going to be really frustrating for you. If you have the foundation in order, it's going to like just take that and like make it like more leveraged. Does that make sense? Like, do you guys get what I mean when I say having the underlying foundation really solid is important? And if you have that, these courses are great. If you don't, they're kind of like sending you off on this goose chase. I see Megan nodding, so that's good. It sounds like you're picking up what I'm putting down. Let me go check the comments, see what you guys are saying. Yeah, so Heather and Sabrina are both agreeing that they don't know what they don't know. And I don't either, right? Like, we're trying to buy another house. And I am looking to a realtor who I can count on to cover my rump, to help me think of the things that I need to ask that I didn't even know I needed to ask. Like, that is the kind of expert I am looking for because we're looking at buying a house in a completely different part of the country. So I need someone like my boots on the ground guy who's gonna, or woman, but in this case, we found a guy who's gonna help me with those things, to help me, because there are things I don't know. So it's not just you guys, it's me too. It just depends on the topic, right? And Megan's with this too. Like, there's so much that she doesn't know that she doesn't know. Megan also has terrible shiny object issue and she loves learning all the things, but then she becomes so unfocused on the foundation. I'm so glad you brought that up, Megan, because that's the other issue with this is, and I have done this too in my own business. So you aren't alone. You know, this is not like to shame anyone. I think that this is the human condition, right? This is why people end up having compulsions and addictions to things. It's very similar. It's that part of our brain that wants that dopamine hit, wants the quick fix, and also finds it very appealing when there's something new dangled in front of us. It's sort of like, I'm going to talk about food in a second, but it's like exercise. Give me the thing that's going to give me my beach body in 6 weeks. I don't want to spend 2 years to try and get there. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, who wants to do that? But that's reality. That's actually what we have to do. And Megan, you have it right, where like these shiny object things, when you do them at the wrong time, they're actually costing you time, because they're distracting you from that more boring work that really needs to be done. And then that's time you can't get back, right? That's the tough thing about it. And we have to have an honest conversation with ourselves, I think, at times. And I have gotten to the point where I was buying these shiny objects a lot, Megan. So it wasn't just you. Like, I was trying to learn one marketing thing after another, even in my own business, and I'm a marketer. And I had to like put a note on my phone, no more courses until September. And it would come up as a reminder every day on my phone. Okay, so that's one tip I have for you. And I tried to train in the back of my brain to ask, and I'm going to give you some questions at the end to ask, but to say like, Reese, is this what you need right now? Like, is this what you really need right now? Okay. Megan goes down a rabbit hole. No, Kersha goes down a rabbit hole. Without accountability and guidance. I think a lot of people do, Kersha. It's definitely not just you. Dopamine's the culprit. Losing time, Kersha. I know, it's tough. It's tough. And you talked about how thank you, Kersha, for saying you're grateful for me helping rein you in. For anyone watching, Kersha is someone who happens to be in my group program, and she's awesome and amazing. And Kersha, it's kind of like a personal trainer. People think they will hire personal trainers for their knowledge, and that's some of it. Like the personal trainer knows what weights you should be lifting or what cardio workout you should be doing. But a lot of what people will hire a personal trainer for is to say to them, here's what we're doing this week. Here's what we're doing next week. Like, be that person who is holding you accountable. And I think that's where having more like a long-term mentorship can be helpful, or someone, a consultant, whoever it is, who's helping you be accountable. Heather does quick YouTube workouts and gets mad and quit when she doesn't look different by next week. So relatable. And you guys, what I think I hate about this is, like, I'll do the workout, right? And by the end of the workout, I've worked my rump off. Like, even if I'm doing an online Zoom or dance thing, and I'm like, I'm so tired. And I think in my brain, because I'm so exhausted and I work so hard, that should mean like 20 pounds comes off me in a week, right? Because my perception in my brain is, I did all this hard work. And then what do you mean? It feels like too much pain for so little gain. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me figure out where we are. All right. So since we're on this food and exercise quick kick, I'm going to talk a little bit about chicken McNuggets. So I have a chicken McNugget problem. They're just so easy. You pick up a McNugget, you dip it in the sauce, you crunch on down. And they're damn tasty too. Where are my McNuggets people out there? Tell me in the comments. And if you are a 100% whole foods person and you have the world's most perfect diet, my hat is off to you. No, I have no issue with that, but I am not ashamed of my love for McNuggets. Okay. So much of marketing is like McNuggets. And the other problem is this: when you don't make it, this is like the workouts too, when you don't make it very easy and delicious for me to eat, like a salad or a protein bowl or a veggie dish, I'm going to go for the easy fix. It's not just because the nuggets are tasty. It's because, like, God, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've worked an 8-hour day. And at the end of it, I'm like, I just need some fuel. Like, I need dinner that's fast and doesn't require me to think. And like, let's not even get started about how I can't get salads at McDonald's anymore because apparently they are not pandemic proof. I don't know what the story is there, but so this is the issue with this kind of marketing. They're like McNuggets. There is a woman who is another woman besides Kersha who's in my group program. And this is a really interesting story. She was recently approached, like last week, by a producer for a Lifetime TV show who wants her to possibly come on as an expert, talk about her story, what she does, and her products. So on the outside, this looks awesome, right? This is the kind of thing that I could come to you ladies and say, get on Lifetime, like, it's really easy to get on Lifetime TV. And dangle it like there's a very straight path to doing so, and you can get there in a month or 6 weeks. It looks on the outside like this overnight success. But what's going on behind the scenes is this is more like a reflection of her working for nearly 4 months now on that foundation. She pivoted how she talked about her products and her messaging, right? She completely changed her positioning on her offers. That's something we worked on together. And it helped her, like when these producers came, to have even a working title for the segment that she might be on TV with. But none of those things are a 6-week fix. They aren't. They're like, they're like eating the brown rice bowl with broccoli. But at the end, at least, like, she's seeing these kinds of results. But it's like Heather said, they're not like you do the YouTube workout and a week later, boom, Lifetime TV is calling you. It just doesn't happen that way. And a lot of times when we see people who have said to us something amazing happened, they got to 7 figures or they were featured on Forbes. Sometimes there's luck, but I would say a good 80% or more of the time, they there's a backstory there that they aren't telling you. Hold on a sec. I want to make sure. I'm going to go look at the comments. Okay, cool. Oh, these are my people. Sabrina loves McNuggets. Thank you. Something I really want you to hear, and this is related to what Sabrina brought up earlier about Reels, is that first, like when you, like this woman in my program, she's been working on her foundation, whether it's with me or someone else, when you work on foundation like that, even if you're doing it yourself, that work will work for you no matter what changes or trends come up in the world. And we live in a very fast-paced society, like the tech is always changing, right? So these fast fix programs or even freebies you might get are often related to technology that may not even be here a year from now. So imagine you pay someone, a consultant or a higher end course, I don't know, $1,000 for a course on how to do Reels on Instagram, right? Great, you've mastered the tech. You know what goes into making a fantastic reel. You have the formula. And a year from now, for whatever reason, Instagram pulls Reels. We have seen this happen. We have seen in the last year, like every 6 months, Instagram mucking around with their algorithm and formula, haven't we? Facebook is doing the same. So I'm not saying don't learn these things, but the tech changing stuff is happening all the time. And so if you put all your eggs into this basket of, if I learn Reels or if I learn to do a quiz or whatever it is, that'll be my ticket. What happens when the ticket's pulled from you? What are you left with if that underlying foundation hasn't been built, right? So that's why I think these sort of narrow quick fixes, these shiny objects make sense when you have that solid foundation. And when you have a fair amount of extra profits, you can go and learn something quickly. If it doesn't work out for you, it's not a big deal. It isn't going to like disable you emotionally. Like, holy crap, I thought that was my ticket. And now what are you left with? Like, that's really, really disheartening when that happens. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to have these distractions when you're still trying to figure out, what do I need to say to connect with the right customer? Who is the right customer? For example, are there problems on my website that I don't even know about? We talked about you don't know what you don't know, that might be preventing them from buying. Like, once you have all those figured out, great, go forth, do the shiny objects. Like, you have my complete seal of approval, please do that. But until then, I'm afraid you're just going to be distracted and frustrated. And the truth is, too many marketers or agencies, and I've given you like cautionary tales, are not connecting those dots for you. They aren't looking at you, like you, Megan, you, Heather, you, Sabrina, as an individual and saying, this thing relates to this thing. This is how they work together. And this person next to you had success because their business is a little different than yours. Even though they have a product-based business too, it's different. And here's why we need to contextualize it for you. Here's why it's a bit different for you and what your path looks like instead, or might look like instead. And because these people aren't doing this, these consultants, these courses, these programs, it creates frustration for you and it creates this distrust. Like, how do you know who to trust? And you feel like you put your eggs in someone's basket that way and then they kind of let you down. That's super disheartening. It's happened to me. I think it's happened to a lot of us. I'd love to know in the comments if that's ever happened to you. And it doesn't have to be related to your business. Maybe it's happened with something like a weight loss program, for example. So, like I said, you don't know what you don't know, and it's not your fault at all. Like, you're here to learn. We are all here to learn. And of course, you are hoping that this person or this course that you've taken is going to show you the whole puzzle and how everything works together. And 9 times out of 10, they aren't. They're just adding more weird, busy work to your plate. So, bottom line, what this whole topic is about, if you find that your marketing efforts aren't working, there is a very strong chance that the biggest reason why is related to like the positioning of your offers or products, and whether you have figured out who your customer is, like what that person really cares about, how they speak, how you connect with them. And it's also about how easy it is to buy from you without any friction. When those things aren't in place, all your other marketing efforts are probably more likely than not to fail. So what I want to do is I want to leave you with 4 questions to ask when you're like vetting that next course, that next consultant. And we talked earlier, if you feel like you have shiny object syndrome, like so many people in the comments said they do, there are tips you can do to hack your brain even before you ask these questions. You can put the note on your phone, like an everyday reminder that comes up, no more courses till X. Or train your brain to start asking, is this what I really need right now? And one of my questions, and the 4 questions I'm going to give you, relates to that. So here's the first one. You see a course, a consultant, program, whatever. Has this been promoted to you as this one little narrow thing, and it'll be the answer to all your sales problems? Like, do Pinterest for 60 days and you'll explode your growth. So that's the first question. Is it very narrow, and is it positioned like it's the thing you need, right? And it's going to solve everything. So that, and the second question is, when you listen to this person or read their stuff, does it make sense to you logically and not just emotionally? So this is where you're going to step back and you're going to say, like, do I need this right now? And is this almost like the McNugget is for Reese? It's calling to her because it's so tasty and good, even though deep down she knows it might not be the best thing for her to eat every day. Is it a McNugget? Okay. Or does it really logically make sense to you to do this? And there are honestly days where a McNugget makes logical sense to me, but many days it's more like that dopamine hit. It's the emotional part. It's me being tired. It's all those things. So are you in your right mind right now when you're vetting this course or person? Number 3, are you looking for a narrow education on a topic? Which is fine. I have no qualms about this. Like, maybe you want to learn how to do $5 a day Facebook ads. But ask yourself, am I okay with that being a narrow education? Am I going to go into this with eyes wide open and know I'm just learning this one narrow thing? I can dedicate myself to it. It's not going to be a distraction. And it's okay. I'm okay with learning this narrow topic. And number 4, and this is the most important one in my opinion, what does your gut tell you about the person, say the consultant, or the people behind the program? Not what you hope, but deep in your gut. Do you feel in alignment with them as a person? Do they seem kind? Do they seem like they care about you beyond just getting you to buy from them? Are you in alignment with their character, how they treat other people, with their values? And some of these things are really hard to vet. And if you can't find the answers in your mind, listen to your gut. Because our gut can pick up things that our minds can't always understand. You can trust your gut. I want you to hear that. No matter what it is, you can trust your gut. I'm going to go check the comments and then we're going to wrap this up. That last one is always big for me, Heather. Do you mean trusting your gut, Heather? Yeah? Okay. Megan says, yeah, will the tech even be around in a year? That's a great way to help evaluate the value. And again, if you're in a position where you're okay with the tech maybe being gone in a year, let me give you some context on this. Let's say you have a team, okay? You've got helpers, your business is humming along. It's like a well-oiled machine. You've got a team. You don't have to be in your business 24/7, and you have help to help you learn a new skill rapidly or even train a team member on it. It might make sense to learn Reels this month, capitalize on it for the next 6 months. And then if they pull Reels or whatever we're talking about in a year, it's not a waste because you had all this like underlying support to help you leverage it while it was there. And then boom, if it's done, it's fine. But it would be really disheartening if you, Megan, are like a solopreneur and you put all this time into this and then Reels gets pulled out. So I always like you to think about your business in context. What's your setup like? Are you the only person doing this? How much time do you have? Those kinds of things. But I'm glad that resonated with you. Kai likes the McNuggets and Kersha likes them okay too. The burgers are terrible though. My husband really likes the burger, especially in McDouble. That's his favorite. Okay. Let me see. All right. The final thing I want to leave you with is that there is an early enrollment right now for my group program, and it has an extended payment plan. It's just for women in e-commerce. And unlike a lot of what we've talked about today, it's a step-by-step process for building a solid marketing foundation. It's not necessarily that sexy route, right? There's a bit of a time investment here for you. But what I try to focus on is whatever time you're investing is not something that's going to be invested in something that like is pulled out from you in a year. That no matter where we are in the world, like 5 years from now, what you learn, you could still apply in your business. So if that's of any interest to you, just type the word group into the comments and I will reach out to you on Facebook Messenger or by email, and we can talk more about it and whether it makes sense for your business. And if you are with me in the Zoom room, I'm going to shut off the live stream in a couple minutes, but that doesn't mean that you have to go. We can spend some time like talking about this and connecting in a bit more like close-knit manner. So don't leave unless you need to or want to. And I'd love to answer any questions or just talk more about any thoughts that you had about today's topic, and you can unmute and we can have a conversation. And I want to check the comments one more time before we wrap up. And I would love for you to tell me, what do you think is the biggest aha you got from today's live? Like what thing that you were like, never thought about it that way. While you're thinking about that, next week, I'm going to be back at 10 a.m. on Talk Shop Tuesday. And I know that these time changes are wonky. Some weeks it's 11, some weeks it's 10. In the fall, it's going to be better. It's going to be consistently at 11, but because of the other things on my schedule, it's this way right now. But you're going to want to listen in next week. It's a juicy topic. I'm going to be talking about the thing that you're told is the answer to more store sales and what the actual truth is. Like I'm on a kind of mission right here, like right now, as if you can tell, to try and be forthright with you guys about what you're told versus what is reality. So that's what next week's topic is. The truth behind what the answer is to more store sales. And I know for some of us, it's a holiday coming up, 4th of July for us in the US. If you are Canadian, we've got Canada Day coming up. And if you're elsewhere in the world and you've got a holiday coming up as well, I'd love to hear what it is so that I can be educated. But if you're in the US or Canada and you have a holiday, what are you going to do? Are you relaxing? Are you working? Are you seeing family? Like what's going on? I'm just doing a staycation. So I'm kind of happy about that. We're just going to try to catch up on some things around here. So whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're just like me and doing that staycation, I hope you have an amazing week and weekend. I'm going to look at the comments one more time. And so Sabrina's big takeaway is little narrow courses are like McNuggets, and you don't always need to eat McNuggets. I know it's hard to believe, but we don't always need to eat McNuggets. Heather has no plans for the weekend. Okay, so Heather, are you going to dress up the dogs for 4th of July? That's the really burning question here. Will the dogs be dressed up? Oh, good. Charmony finally, I see Charmony over on Facebook comments, so I'm glad to know we were working on Facebook. Thank you, Charmony. Megan's big takeaway was, is the tech temporary? And it's hard. We don't have a crystal ball, right, Megan? So the biggest takeaway behind your big takeaway is most tech is temporary. So what isn't? Like what lasts? What can survive any tech change? And I really believe it's your ability to communicate with your customers about why your product can transform their life. Because no matter whether we're talking about Facebook or Instagram, or maybe 5 years from now, it's virtual reality, God help us all. When you understand that, it survives any of those tech changes, right? Because then what's left for you is simply like navigating the actual tech part of the tech, but not how do I resonate with another human being? How do I resonate with my customer? Sabrina's going to take a couple of day trips in July while your husband takes a week off work. My husband also has a week off work this week. I'm really jealous. I don't. You can't leave the goats for too long. So Okay, so the day trip means you'll come back and you'll be able to have the goat. Okay, I was trying to figure out if you were going away overnight, but you aren't. And that's because of the goats. That's the thing, like the goats are great. That's why I love having Tiki as my part-time pet, because we can still go on overnight trips because her other mama takes care of her. But that's the tough thing about pets. Like you love them, but it does kind of restrict your lifestyle sometimes. Heather's bow ties for her dogs are done for 4th of July, and her daughter and her cat have oh my God, will you please take a picture of the daughter and the cat please take a picture of daughter and cat with matching set. I want to see that. I really do. And Heather also says that the tech changing was a big aha, and she forgets how fast things change. Yeah, I think we all need to be reminded of this stuff a lot. Our brains forget. They forget so quickly, and they just see the McNugget and they're like, oh, yay, McNugget. And we forget, oh, the tech might change. All right, that's it. I'm going to shut off the live stream in a second. Thank you for everyone who joined me or who might be watching the replay. I loved sharing this time with you today. And my Zoom people here, stick around. It'll be just you and me in a second.